Hello, it's
Right,
Friday, it's
it is.
midday, and we're both waiting for the budget next week.
Yeah.
So we're going
That was the quickest show we've ever done, wasn't it? It's all
Yeah.
about next Thursday. Is it Wednesday or Thursday next week, the budget? I can't remember.
I don't know. I lose track of time with my old age. But
Is it me, or have they been talking about this budget for like what seems like forever, and it's still not here?
What made me laugh is in the middle of the week, someone put up some kind of news story thing about the fact that middle class people are going to get taxed. You know, it's like middle class people are already getting taxed. What are you on about? It's like, you know, can this government tax people any more than they're already taxing people? Is what I'm going to ask.
All will be revealed at probably midday, one day next week, which we can't remember which one it is, and I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah,
could be. We'll find out next week. But yes, the long anticipated budget. That's its little bit that goes in front, isn't it? It's prefix.
What I think would be funny is if someone once actually stole that briefcase and replaced it with an identical looking briefcase with a much better budget in it. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
And she just has to read out what's on the bit of paper, and it's completely.
I think that's what happened. You remember that time when Boris Johnson started talking about Peppa Pigland? I'm pretty certain that's what happened there. Someone took his script for that day and went, Peppa Pigland is a really great play. What am I reading?
Yeah.
Oh.
Clearly paying no attention to what he should be doing, but just reading a bit of paper in front of him. So
yeah. Maybe it was his wife's notes about where they were going to take the kids or something for a break. You know. But that's what happened. We have a guest today.
We do. We do.
It's our weatherman. Really, he's out and about, and he's gonna bring us the weather. So please welcome weatherman Paul.
Well, I'm glad you two are worried about the budget.
He's just been and robbed a bank.
You turned me weather off.
The interesting thing there, Paul, is that there's someone that looks just like you in that van behind you.
Yeah,
there he is.
There he is.
He doesn't wave.
He's stuck.
Yeah. Oh, you left me in the green room too long. I'm boiling now.
Sorry, mate. Apologies.
Sorry.
Just waffling on.
For anyone that's never met Paul Skinner before, this is Paul Skinner, ladies and gentlemen. He resides in the southwest of England, as do I, which is obviously the best part of the world. I mean, I like it down here, Paul. I don't know about you. I
very much like it down here. I've got everything I need down here. I've got the sea, I've got rivers, I've got woodlands and moorlands, and I've got massive potholes.
That's just us trying to make more rivers.
Maybe I could paddle in some of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my word! Yeah, we are getting worse and worse potholes down this part of the.
I'd report them, but the internet doesn't work.
Yeah, so true, isn't it? But yet we still somehow manage to make things happen in the southwest. I mean, I think it's a great example to certain parts of the country where people feel like living
in adversity.
Everything has to be like on your doorstep and whatever in order for it all to work. But we're still trying to maintain a slightly slower pace of life down here. Slowly but surely that's getting eroded by technology, but we're trying at least.
Oh, sorry.
Wow, look at that. He's being chased by the dog now.
Yeah. And I'm desperately trying to think of the name of Paul's dog. Black Labrador. Can't think of his name.
I love that. Look at that. So far, he's treated us to some fancy dress.
Yeah.
He's still on the screen though, mind.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at that. Look, I thought he was coming in feet first then.
Yeah.
And then, what's the dog's name, Paul?
Frank Turner. Come here. Frankie doesn't like me, and he won't come in here. He scared me when I'm working.
Frank Turner, right, as in the musician, Frank Turner.
Yeah, he won't sit down. He won't shut up.
Right. Tremendous. Now, listen, I particularly wanted for us to talk about chairs today. I mean, you've been doing quite a lot of posts on chairs in 2025. There's such a variety of chairs out there now, and I feel like still though, and we'll start at the beginning. I feel still to this day, a lot of people still think that a chair is a chair. Right. And it's not, is it? No, 100% not. Right. So let's start at the beginning for all of you that are.
It's a Frank Turner song that starts with that lyric.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in the beginning, we're winners and we're losers. But yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So for and his dog wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for any of
his dog's called Paul Skinner.
That still think that a chair is a chair, right? We'll start at the beginning. Some chairs are better than others, to quote a Smith's lyric, or almost. What is, as a starting point, what do you see as like a good starting point with a chair?
It's got to fit you, innit?
Got to fit you.
It's got to fit you. Yes.
You
can buy a pair of shoes online and they're the color you like and they're the size you like and they turn up and they're everything that you were sold, and you put them on your feet and they fit, but something's just not right. You got to try this stuff for size and fit first.
Yeah. What are some of the most ridiculous situations you've ever seen in terms of poor fit of a chair out there? I
find most chairs, if it, and I don't think it's that important. You may disagree. If the chair's a bit too small, I think you'll cope with that okay. Most chairs, I think, are designed by 6 foot tall men, 4 6 foot tall men, and if you're a sort of average size lady, that's going to hurt you. Most chairs are just too big, and it's not just the size. Some of them can be adjusted to fit better, and people don't understand how to do that, which isn't their fault. But yeah, you see some people on really big chairs. The arms are too wide, so they're sort of leaning on the armrests like that. The seat's too deep, so they've put a pillow behind them. That's quite common. You see,
are we still seeing out there what a lot of people call the executive chair? So this is basically right where you have a back and a seat which are held together by an arm, normally a loop arm, right? And they literally, if you look at the way that the chair's manufactured, there are bolts going through the arm into the back. People, if you're sat on one of these now, you can just get off your chair and have a look. So there's bolts going through the arm onto the back, and then the same arm, there's some bolts that go into the seat part of it. And basically, if you took the arm off, the seat part and the back part would just fall to pieces, right? So that effectively, what you've got is you've got an L shape, and it can't move, right? That back's not moving, the seat's not moving. You think that it moves because it's got like what they call a little tilt mechanism. It's normally a little pull-out lever, and it's just what they call a little box knee tilt mechanism where it tilts you backwards, doesn't support you going forwards at all. Now, when you think about it, that's great if you want to fall asleep, right? If you're going to work at a desk, completely pointless, right? Because you're either going to sit relatively upright or you're going to sit slightly forward. That's just the way it is, because your stuff's in front of you. It's not behind you, is it? Right? and yet people buy these chairs, and they here's the mistake people make when they buy a chair as well. They sit in them and they go, oh yeah, that's comfortable. You don't work like that. You don't work like that.
Go, and these chairs are always $99.99, aren't they, on special offer somewhere?
It's $99.99.
Yeah. Usually in the last week of the month, when certain organisations are trying to hit their sales targets, and they just bang these out at $99.99 wherever you go, same price.
And they always say as well, they always say leather upholstered.
Oh yeah,
right, which means diddly squat, because further down it will say faux leather, or it will say, like, Look, it's basically like plastic, mate. I mean, those
leather.
Plastic leather. The advantage that they do have for a lot of people, which is why a lot of people buy them as well, is they look really puffy. They look like they've got a lot of, body to them, and so people buy them because they go, that's going to be real comfortable. But they
about a week later, it's gone from that to about that, hasn't it? Because basically, it just collapses after you've sat.
This is the other thing, and Paul's going to talk to us a little bit more about this in some great detail. Now, he didn't know that, but he is. But there's not only is a chair not a chair, but there's foam, and then there's foam, right? And a lot of those chairs have got just cheap foam in them, and that cheap foam. Here's the beautiful thing about cheap foam: dust eats it. So over time, your dust mite gets in there and it starts nibbling, and actually then your foam ends up looking like a messy mess. And if you ever cut open one of those chairs after a few years, it makes a terrible mess because all the foam's just given way. But there's other foams as well, aren't there, Paul?
There are. Foam is. I'm not going to profess to be a foam expert, but definitely there's a massive difference between a high quality foam that you'd want to see in a chair that you're sat in for 8 hours a day, and a cheap foam. And as you've said quite rightly, Graham, the big cheese chairs, as I call them, tend to be very cheaply made. They might as well be made out of cheese and sculpted with a spoon. You could then eat it at the end of the day, and it probably would have some use. But yeah, I mean, I delivered a chair, a nice new chair to a guy the other day who had about 20 years ago in its day bought a nice new chair. And you know what? That 20-year-old chair still worked. The foam was still there. The mechanism still works. The gas lift shot to bits. It needs a new gas lift in it. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a new gas lift on it. I'm going to hoover it up, dust it off. And I think it's got some value to somebody. It's because it was made with really high quality parts, high quality foam. And we can do different things with different foams as well. You can use denser foam for more support and thinner, lighter foam for more comfort for people that have got pressure sensitive issues. There is a lot you could do with foam, and and some companies work really hard to make sure the foam is right.
Yeah. Now let's. This is fun, isn't it? Like pulling chairs to bits. I love it. It's one of my favourite.
Paul's wondering what question's coming next. He's been given a grilling, isn't he?
So here's another one for you, Paul. How many times have you, when you've been asked about a chair, you say, I need to get some measurements, and then somebody comes back because you do.
Yeah. And
then somebody comes back and goes, they're 6'2".
Yeah.
And you go,
and
yeah, but I need some measurements. Well, I just told you they're 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to, most of my work's done in person. So I'll get me tape measure out. Oh no, there it is. Get me Stanley out and do it myself. That way I can be responsible when it's wrong.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But it's so interesting. You go back to what Paul was talking about earlier about a chair not fitting, right? And especially like a smaller person on a bigger chair, right? One of the things that you measure, obviously, is what you call the mid-popliteal length, which is from the back of the buttock to behind the knee, and then from your lower popliteal length, which is from behind your knee to the ground, right? And because the thing is, if you've got a chair that's like this deep, I'm just putting this into layman's terms for people out there now. If you've got a chair that's this deep and your leg's this long, guess what? Your backside isn't going to meet the back of that chair.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen, right? So the only way that you end up going to sit in that chair is to slouch. And that's what you're going to end up doing all of the time.
You develop a spine like a croissant.
Oh, yes, now.
Yes. Croissant.
Where did the croissant come into play? And are you do you go more croissant or shrimp? Because both have been used in
they have. I got to be honest. I first heard radio legend Sean Keaveney say spine like a croissant, and if I'd have had his email address, I'd have tried to sell him a chair. Prawns or shrimps come into it as well sometimes.
Yeah. But explain that to people. I mean, basically, what's going on there?
So you end up sitting more on the sacrum than you do on the sit bones, because you as you've pointed out there, Graham, perfectly, your bum's too far forward in the seat. The backrest, probably you're halfway up your back by the time anything in your body is contacting that backrest. So the muscles and the bone structure just sort of collapses a little bit and gets stressed into the gap that you've created, because the back of the chair is just too big for you, or the seat is too big for you, and everything curves in a way that it should not over time. So we try to fill that gap with pillows and cushions, which all those nice little mesh supports you buy on Amazon for 15 quid. That's what you're worth. You're worth 15 quid. Get a mesh.
Now let's talk about those lovely mesh things that people can buy from other places.
Online retailers.
Online retailers are available and are guilty. So here's another thing: the amount of people that buy those and then can't get comfortable in the chair, and the reason being is because a lot of those contraptions, torture instruments, whatever you want to call them, are about this deep, and by the time you've put them on the back of the chair, right, you're now moved forward in the chair that amount, right? So when you had a seat pan, that's the bit you actually sit on, that's about this length, you're now sitting on about that much of it. Right? And then people go, oh, getting terrible pain under the middle part of my leg. No wonder, because guess what? The chair's cutting into that part of your leg, right? Because and especially in that sort of sitting position, you've got quite a lot of pressure then under that part of your leg. Can you normally tell? Here's a good question. Can you normally tell by looking at a chair that someone's been sitting in how they've been sitting?
No.
Oh, I'm surprised, because I could.
Yeah, if they got it set up massively wrong, if they got the, if you've got a short person and the seat slides all the way forward.
One of my favourite tricks, I'll tell you now, Paul. One of my favourite tricks with seats used to be if I could identify things like sciatica and whatever by where there's wear and tear on the front of the chair.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because quite often people that have got sciatica on one side, right, they will sit on the other leg with that
keep
leg underneath to raise that off. And of course, where their foot has been on the front of the chair, it wears away. And I kid you not, the amount of times I went, you got sciatica on that side, and they go, how'd you know that?
Yeah.
And you go, because I bet you sit on your leg, don't you? And they went, how'd you know that? It's going, because you've got wear and tear on the front of the chair there. Oh yeah.
What's the biggest, when you go out to see people, Paul, to talk about chairs, what's the biggest user error you see when you're going out there? Is it the height? Is it the arms? What's the thing that you see that happens the most and that can be easily remedied? Because it isn't always, like you said before about putting new gas stem in that chair, it isn't always necessarily about selling a new product. It's about advising, maybe upgrading, etc. So it's not always I'm going to sell a chair. I might be able to do something with your existing chair. But what's the biggest thing that people do wrong that you think actually you could almost self-serve with that problem?
Screen height. Screen height's really. I sometimes question myself, because so many people have the screen height too high. I reckon probably 80-90%, and they always say to people, stand them up and make them look at the other end of the office, and where's your eye line naturally falling? Probably somewhere around the doorknob, which is below you, but they've got their screen set up so they'd be looking at a bird sitting in a tree, and we don't walk along the road like that. And maybe it's because they've got big cheese chairs and they're sitting there like that, so that's kind of where they so that's that's a massive thing.
Because screens is very easy. Obviously, we do things like arms and things like that. And I think there's two very straightforward things with screens. And I'm just naturally putting my hand out in front of me. But your screen should be, if you're sitting in your chair, normal position, your fingertips should be just about able to touch the screen. And the screen, the top of the screen should be just below your eye level. They're the two things to me that are sort of really core about getting, and that could be whether it's on a laptop stand or whether it's a screen. Think of those two things, get the screen the right distance away from you, and the top of the screen at a certain sort of point just below eye level.
Well, now, do you know where I think this comes from?
Okay.
Two things, right? One is people feel very comfortable, and we'll talk about that with you a little bit in a minute, Stephen, but people feel very comfortable in their cars quite often.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like some people's sitting position at work, they're trying to marry how they sit in their car, which is a very different thing. Because generally you're sat much lower and you're doing a completely different thing, right? And actually you think about where the equipment is in a car, it's just not the same. So I think some of it comes from that. I also think it comes from it actually comes from some science of people trying to feel comfortable in their lower back, because I think probably the most common back problem in the UK, maybe the world, is lumbago, is like lower back pain, right? And what we know is that actually sitting in a sort of 90 degrees upright position isn't the best, the most optimal for the pressure on your intervertebral discs in your spine. It's not. I can't remember how many years ago it was now, but it was published in the Times. There was an experiment done with lots of MRI scans, and they discovered that, like, I think it's like 132 degrees, something like that, is actually best for the pressure on your spine. So actually sitting back a bit is great. You know, the problem with all of this is that computers, right? That's the problem, right? Because years ago, we actually made desks that sloped, right? And we actually made ways of sitting where you sat back a little and you know. So the thing is that, and you might know if you've been into like any of the control rooms in Holland, for example, Stephen, that out there they all sit like that, and the desks actually come around them like that, and the monitor's there, right? Which is so the monitor's higher, right? But it's tilted towards you, and all of that can work if your desk isn't flat. But we've made desks flat because computers, funny things they are, tend to fall off if it's sloped, right? So it's I think some of it's to do with the fact that we've compensated desks for equipment, and therefore we've now got to work in a way that kind of makes us change the way that we sit in order to work with those things. So we're already at a disadvantage.
And you'll see some great examples of this. And we're in the festive season now, is when you see all those things where you see those sort of animated versions of A Christmas Carol, and you think about Bob Cratchit and Ebenezer Scrooge. And I've got a feeling there are some of those cartoon versions where you see them sort of more standing, but at a sloped desk.
Yeah. Well, what they tended to have a sloped desk, right? And then they tended to have like an upriser, which was made of metal or whatever, with a wooden plinth on it, and the plinth would be at an angle like that, so that the pelvis was tilted.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Christmas and ergonomics. Who knew?
It's crazy, right? But yeah, I think that's part of the problem. So I think like people are trying to create this, you know, thing where they're not sat upright. And then they adjust everything so that it's slightly higher because they're like down, and then they're looking up slightly. And I think that's where it comes from, right? But the trouble is that we can't work like that.
No.
Right. So what outside of, you know, let's talk about that. So outside of the sitting thing, how when you give someone a new chair, this might sound like a bit like a contradiction, but presumably at the same time you go, here's your new chair, it's really comfortable, but don't sit in it too much.
Yeah, I mean, I look at when I deliver a chair, I like to look at the whole workstation and sort of, you know, maybe, you know, could be careful how you do it. Some people don't want it, but, you know, have a look at how they're working and offer advice on how to do it better. Is best chair in the world. If it's not set up properly, it's not gonna solve a problem, or is going to cause one. So yeah, there's lots. You've got to treat it holistically, haven't you? It's the desk, it's the equipment on it, it's that how many square meters is it, Stephen? You said this a little while ago.
It's 8 cubic meters, so it's sort of 2 by 2 by 2. Yeah.
Your little world, everything in that needs to be as good as it can be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but
it's in sync, isn't it? It's getting everything in sync within that that 8 cubic meters, everything working together.
Yeah, people often say to me, they buy sit stand. I say, how long should I stand for? That's up to you. The important thing is that you do move, but I'm not going to say you should stand for half an hour, because you're going to be in pain after 10 minutes, phoning me up. I've been standing for 30 minutes and it hurts. Well, you sit down then.
And sometimes it's people need to go off what their body says, as you say. People often say to me, well, how long should you stand and sit? And like they say to you, and it's like, well, approximately it's sort of 30 minutes ish sitting work to about 10 minutes ish standing work, but don't take 30 and 10 as those hard and fast numbers. For someone it could be 22 and 8. For someone it could be 43 and 6. There is your body will tell you.
Well, this is
when you got the nice rhythm for you.
This is the stupid thing that like organizations can't understand, right? Which is that they try and get you to give an answer for like what people collectively should do, right? And it's like, but here's what we're dealing with here. We've got Jill over there who's got fibromyalgia. Now, she don't want to sit for any length of time at anything, right? Because whatever happens, she's getting like pressure point pain, right? So 2 minutes sat down, it's agony, right? So we're trying to trick her motor neuron response and whatever into thinking that like she hasn't got those pain points. So we need her moving around as much as possible. And then we've got James over here who's really old school, and he went to school and he learned to sit on his backside for hours on end, and he's really patient and whatever, and he's fine. And then we've got Jimmy over there, and he's neurodivergent, and his head's like, whoa, he's spinning everywhere, and he's not wanting to sit down for other reasons, right? You cannot say, oh right, so I think what's going to work for everybody here is if they if they can just sit down for an hour and then stand up for 5 minutes. That would just all work perfectly across everybody. It just doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. I mean, we've touched on it in the past, but we do software that helps people and prompts people, and you can set it up with different configurations around sitting and standing. But we always say is, look, we can set it up as this. However, it's got the ability to flex per individual. You've got to have that flex. You've got to have that sort of individualism that you can put to any piece of software, and that applies then through to the chairs that Paul does and all the things. It's got to have the ability. The key thing with anything is adjustability, isn't it, Paul? Whether it's a chair, whether it's a desk, whether it's a piece of ergonomic equipment, it's that ability to adjust it to suit you, and your body does change throughout the day. So what you might start with a certain position with your chair at the start of the day, but you might make a little amend throughout the day just to ease it and then change it back later on.
There you go. Look, we've got a comment from Philip Johns. Get the head balanced. Yeah. I've got the sound balanced. I don't know about my head. It's just but yeah, I mean I'll tell you what, the thing that's the biggest culprit these days, and of course we didn't used to have this in the workplace, right? But the biggest culprit in terms of sort of like posture and neck pain and whatever is that 100%. That
I think the neck pain's the least of its problems, isn't
it?
Yeah. But don't you think? I mean, I just think like that, I do feel like more needs to be made of this in terms of assessment and what's going on in the workplace or whatever. Because you get people and they go, I've seen it where they go like, yeah, look, my monitor's there and this is all nicely set up, but I'm still getting neck pain. Right, okay. And you just watch them for like 10 minutes or whatever, and they're like,
Does it form a big, Paul, when you go in to see people, does mobile phones form a big part of what you observe I mean, because obviously people don't naturally think it of something. Predominantly, people aren't. They're using a phone within work, but they're not necessarily using it to do all of their work. So, is it something that you are sort of aware of when you're doing assessments? Is something else they could be using at the desk that isn't actually a work item?
Yeah, it's not come up a lot, to be honest. I think, Graham, I think you're right. It is. They are a problem. I think they tend to fall out of the scope of assessments, don't they? Because they're not being used for an hour constantly at a time, so it doesn't really fall under that sort of DSE type thing. We've seen a lot. I do like. I've seen on some chairs, not many. You've got, we've got movable, armrests that move and adjust. Nowadays, you see occasionally you've got 5-dimensional armrests where the front of the armrest tilts up. So you can rest your elbows on it to play with your device or your controller or whatever.
Oh, really?
I think they're quite cool for the right person. I don't see people playing with phones a lot in an office for work, and if they are, they're not telling their boss about it.
That's interesting. I think it's used more than you think.
Well, I'm typical. I'm a nightmare. I can't help be distracted by it. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I am, I need to sling it the other end of the room.
I think a really good way of dealing with it is where you can have apps where, because everything's cloud-based now, right? So perhaps even going for the office and go, if we're using a communication method and you've only got it on your phone, we need to make sure it's on your desktop as well.
Yeah.
Right. Not being funny, right? But like one of the first things that I say to some of my clients that I work with through Access to Work, etc., is because they love a lot of neurodivergents love communicating through WhatsApp and whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So have you got WhatsApp on your desktop? No. Well, let's put it on your desktop then. Right. 2 reasons. One is when I send a notification through, you're going to see it, right? Because it's going to ping up on your desktop, and that's where you're working. Secondly, when you're using it, it's all on your desktop. So all of the messages are there and your calls are there, and you can do like Zoom calls and stuff like online now and share screen and whatever through, and share what programs even presentations, all through WhatsApp. Right. So I think sometimes it's just about like literally looking at what technologies people have got and saying, right, actually, do you need to be like on your phone for that, or could it be there? I feel like that's possibly why things like Teams have really taken off, etc., because it marries between the two, and the people have got it on their devices when they go out, etc. But all of it can be accessed via the screen as well.
I think it's a good shout. I know you do it, and I know you're one of the people I communicate with, Graham, and I send you a message, and I know that you'll be typing away, and it is something that I think about. As you say, it's a really good point. How do you get people, if they've got a good setup, which is ticking all the boxes, how do you get more off that mobile device and get it onto the screen? And I think WhatsApp's probably the first one you'd start with, isn't it, really? Because that's how the majority of people are communicating, as you say, neurodiversity in terms of communities, etc. And it's all in front of you. And I think that maybe explains why people do massive long messages, isn't it? Because I often get those big WhatsApps and go, God, how long did he spend there typing away with his thumbs?
He's literally typing on a keyboard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going to maybe have a look at that after this call is to get WhatsApp set up for me on my desktop. I don't have it, but I think it would be useful.
No, absolutely do it. And also, just a very quick one, Paul, before you get in there. The other thing is, bosses, do it, because that way you might see those little messages about you.
But it works, kind of ties in with what I was going to say. Is it works both ways, and because I'm easily distracted, I tend to have as few notifications around me as possible. Like my mum has become she just seems to want noise all the time. Every time the wind blows, the bloody doorbell goes off, and she has a text message. Most of us have it on silent or just a simple ping. She has to have the household cavalry blowing a full march every time a text message goes off. It drives me. So I turn all of that stuff off. So
right.
I do have WhatsApp on my desktop so I can see it and type it better. But I try to keep a lot of things away from me when I'm at work. Otherwise, I get less done.
Okay. I feel like there's another solution for that as well. So there's a few of them about, but there's things like Bleeper or Mayo or whatever as well. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you go. Officially
WhatsApp on the
endorsed.
computer is a game
Officially
changer.
endorsed.
There you go. But there's some of these other apps, and what they do is say that you're almost kind of distracted by too much information. Yeah, you can plumb in all of the different methods by which you get information. So your email, your WhatsApp, your Teams, if whatever different sources you've got, you plumb them into this app, and then you prioritize, right, from certain people and whatever, and it brings all of them up into one interface, and it then prioritizes them as well. And that's clever, right?
Really good. Really good.
I just feel like people aren't looking at what's available out there, maybe. Right.
But again, does that come back to ignorance? Does that come back to the fact that what people need is out there, but they don't know it exists?
And some people are just better at finding this stuff than others.
Yeah.
You know, I've got better with it, but whenever I had an issue with my computer, I would just phone my brother because he's naturally really good at this. And eventually he got fed up with me. He's like, just do what I do and Google it and then read what it says on the screen and do it. I said, yeah, damn. But when I Google it, I get, it comes up with, 10,000 plus pages and a million answers. And the first 185,000 answers when I've Googled it are just wrong. They're for old bits of software. They're for stuff that's not updated. They're not there anymore. When you Google it, something about the way you do it gives you the right answer. You understand it and you just make it work. So
I feel it's like these days, most things are out there. If you like, if you want to look for them, right? Yeah. A great example. I've been doing a little bit of training with an accountant on MTD, Making Tax Digital, which is coming up for people, etc. Means you've got to use different software. It's all very confusing, etc. But and I've got an amount of payments that come in via Stripe.
Yeah.
Right. And I needed to get them into QuickBooks, and no disrespect to this accountant, but they were saying to me yesterday, what you need to do is you'll need to export all of those out into a spreadsheet and then pull them in there. And I'm like, sounds like a lot of work. Right. I don't like work when it comes to accounts. So that's not my flow state, etc. Anyway, so again, this morning I found a little app. Right. Okay. And what does that app do? It exports all of those things from there, and it pulls them and puts them over there, and you just go, right, it's done, right?
Sorted.
Yeah, and you just think, right, how much is that? Like 10 quid a month. Okay, well, do you know what? that's a no-brainer, because that's going to take me more than an hour or two to do every month, and I don't want to be doing that. So, I think most technologies exist now that can plumb one thing to another and save you a bit of time to do it.
They do. The other thing is that there's often 1,000 different answers. What I would like is to give somebody a little bit of money and just have a day with them. So rather than just keep people saying, "Oh, install that, do that, use that, AI that, chat that," I'd like someone to just come in and work with me and see what I do for a day and just install the things that make it better, because it
streamline you.
It hurts my head to find these things and then understand how they work.
Yeah, that's called a systems process overview.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done that with businesses before. Now it's a great thing to do. Just go in and go, why are you doing that? Right. That's basically it's. I actually did it with an ergonomics company that shall remain nameless, because they won't want me to tell you that I did it with them. But I went in there for a couple of days and I looked at all of their processes and I was going, why are you doing that? And then I came up with solutions for them. It was the little things like, when you start digging into a business, you find like people are doing stuff like a chat message will come in on their website, and then they have to manually input that into a CRM.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that all of the details from that get manually into, and you go, you do know you could just automate that.
Yeah.
So it's done. Right. And then you could automate an email to go off to that person to go, thanks for coming on our site. Are you interested? Oh, can you do that? Yeah. Well, that's taken half an hour out of the process that we currently have and turned it into, a couple of minute thing. So that's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's the best app out there, Graham or Paul, that people don't know about that they need to know about?
GeoGuessr.
Oh, right.
Okay, go on.
It's a game on Google Maps where it just plonks you anywhere in the world, and you can drive about like on Street View, and you've got to work out where you are and put a pin in it. You've got to be closer than everybody else. Nothing.
I love it. I
can't. My favourite thing.
I cannot disagree with him on that. That's brilliant.
No.
What a great waste of time that is for everybody. Marvelous. Yeah. GeoGuessr.
Yeah, Guessr, GUESSR, of course, because it was probably developed by a child that can't spell Guesser.
Yeah, I do hope that everybody watching this today has taken a lot of great value out of it and knows a little bit more about chairs and ergonomics and stuff like that. But if all we've done is got you to download GeoGuessr, then
everyone's winning. Everyone's winning.
I suppose it's a winner's songs, isn't it?
Yeah, when you're in the middle, you're like, where the hell am I? I have no idea where I am. And in the 3 minutes you've got, you work out exactly what street corner on Sumatra that you're on.
Wow. I'm going to say, I think one of my favorite apps that I use is Descript.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite ones that I use.
And what does that do?
Okay, so that enables me to take stuff like this, video content that needs editing, and I can edit it by the transcript for a start.
Okay.
Right. So what it does is it immediately, I would plumb into it. I'd say, right, this has got 3 speakers. It's got Stephen Howe, it's got Graham Coath, and it's got Paul Skinner, right? And it would then recognise who's who. It would then do a transcript broken down into the different things, and then I can like investigate it, and it will immediately investigate certain things. So if I keep saying in terms of what I'm saying, it will pull up all of the what are called filler words, and I can just take out all of the filler words straight like that.
Cool.
They're all gone. So that's half the show gone.
Yeah.
And
we're only 17 minutes in.
Yeah, we're only 17 minutes. Oh, that's gone down inside. And then I can look for, I can look for things like swear words, for example. And it will allow me then to could treat that in 2 ways. I could just take the swear word out, or it would allow me to put like a beep in where the swear word is. And what other things can it do? And then it will enable me to play with the sound, etc., get the sound better. And I can then turn it into clips as well. So at the touch of a button, it will go through that transcript, and I can say, find me all the funny bits, and it will go none.
That can't have been this show. That must have been some of the show you did.
Exactly. Oh, that was the show on politics. No, but it will go, oh yeah, right, I think this is a funny bit, or find me the bits with the best value thought leadership value takeaway. And it will go, oh, that's where he mentions Madras, and there we go, and then it will, and you can say how big that, how long that clip should be. Is it 20 seconds, 30 seconds? So sometimes I need to do a bit of editing around it, but those things are very, very time consuming if you do them in the old-fashioned way of like searching through and then doing it. And so even if I do make edits to it afterwards in a video editing package as well, it really reduces time, and those things help you scale your business. So
brilliant.
There's a great bit of software. What about you? What's your favorite?
Well, I asked the question because I'm rubbish at stuff like this, so I was just trying to get good stuff out of you, to be honest. So, and I got GeoGuessr, so everyone's happy now. That's all I wanted. Was
Stephen's favorite is the Beano app. With Dennis the Menace and Nash. Do you know what? Actually, I keep getting sent adverts for it. It's making a big comeback, the Beano.
Is it?
I keep getting sent. I don't know whether it's because it knows that I've got kids of that age or whatever, or it thinks I am a big kid.
Yeah.
But I keep getting. Oh, look! Literally, I've just opened Instagram. Do you know what I got an advert for?
Beano.
No, a certain document holder by a certain manufacturer.
It better be the certain one that sponsors it. Better be the certain one that sponsors this show. Otherwise,
yeah,
it'll be a problem.
It was
good.
Yeah. Yeah, we better talk about that briefly before we go. But no, I keep getting adverts on the old Instagram for the Beano. You can get, apparently, if you do it now, folks, 10 copies of it plus the Christmas special for £10. There you go. Not too bad.
Bargain.
It's an inordinate amount of money after that, but it's possibly worth it. Oh, and poor Manny's died today, hasn't he? From
yesterday, yeah.
Or yesterday from the Stone Roses, yeah. That is tragic.
It is.
Yeah. There we go. Happens to the best of us, though. So
even happens to bass players. I'd never heard of him.
Had you not?
No. The Stone Roses weren't one of my things.
No.
And they played a lot of it on Six Music earlier, and I go, okay, yeah, I missed that. It's quite good, but yeah.
All right. What's one of your things? What gets listened to? You've got to ask this briefly. What gets listened to in the Backworld van as you're travelling the country?
It can be anything. It can be anything. Frank Turner, hence the dog, is still will always be my go-to. But I might fancy a bit of Puccini, or I might fancy some ABBA or Madonna because I need to sing something. It can be absolutely. I don't have. If I'm on a pub quiz and it's sort of 90s or 2000s pop music, I'm probably going to get 0. But there was a music quiz at a networking event a couple of weeks ago that I went to, and I was the only person in a room of 100 people that knew that Screaming Jay Hawkins song "I Put a Spell on You." But anything at all. I don't know anything in great depth, but there's not much I won't listen to, at least a little bit.
And Frank Turner has appeared on the last 2. I don't think it's free, but he's appeared on the Lottery Winners albums as well.
Oh yeah, but he sort of sponsored and produced a lot of their stuff, didn't he? Yeah. Lottery Winners are good as well. If you get to see them live, they're good fun.
Yep, they are very good fun indeed. Look, people know people, and all of those sort of things.
I've gone from phone to the Lottery Winners.
We really have. Stephen, before we leave today, just want to tell us a little bit about this new document holder that you've got doing the Instagram rounds.
Will that be the laptop? That's the laptop holder that's got the document holder. So obviously, when we encourage people to use monitor arms so their screens are adjustable, get them at the right height. But obviously, a lot of people like to use their laptop as a second screen. So there's a lot of laptop holders that go onto the second arm. We've taken it to another stage. Obviously, inline working is a big thing for us. So we've created a laptop holder that has got a document holder within it as well. So not only can you make sure you're getting your, using your laptop and getting it the right height, but you can also work in line by having your documents up there, which I think is great from an ergonomic perspective, working in line. But also you think more and more people have got smaller desks, smaller surface areas. Not only can you get the laptop up off the desk to create more space, you can also get the paperwork up there as well. So really interesting for home workers, hot desking, people with sort of smaller footprints. It's getting more things up and off the desk and creating a little bit more space. So yeah, it's got a lot of traction in the last week since it's been launched. So very interesting product for us.
Right. Okay. Now, as a kind of finishing point today, just want to talk about some opportunities that you guys might have. All right, because talking about that, I have noticed recently, and it's kind of creeping back in big style, that there's a lot of TV going on at the moment where people have got really bad ergonomic setups. Very bad indeed. You were talking about the whole laptop stand bit. I've seen a lot of people on TV recently using one of those laptop stands that literally sits on the desk and brings the laptop up here, but then they're sat with their hands here.
Yes.
Up on it.
Yes.
Right. So I feel like we need to address that. And then I found a whole program where you can both attack. Yeah. Okay. Long Lost Families. You know, the Nikki Campbell, Davina McCall. Yeah. Next time you watch it, perhaps we should do a screen grab and whatever, and put it out and name and shame. But literally everybody that's working there in that office is working off of a laptop directly. Right. Yeah.
prawns, shrimps.
There's basically, and
croissants.
everybody's got a croissant back.
Yeah.
Everybody. So if you're watching, it's BBC, isn't it? If you're watching BBC, shame on you.
Yeah.
Right. Long lost backs. That's what we're going to start calling it.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's such, there are so many really good, obviously, Backer probably have the best, but there are so many really good, really compact, affordable laptop stands. And I got to Birmingham to a meeting sort of once a month. I've got to go next week. And there's a room of 80 people and everyone takes their laptops. And I'm the only person that takes a laptop stand. And occasionally people ask me about it. But it's such a simple thing to adopt. It's a cheap thing to buy. You can carry them around with you. I'm not saying go and spend 1,500 quid in a Swedish chair. Just go and spend 50, 60 quid in a laptop stand. Everyone's got a spare keyboard and a mouse tucked in a corner somewhere. And but I find it really hard to get much.
Well, I kind of felt sorry for the seating manufacturer in that, and I know exactly what the chair is. It's maybe I shouldn't say, but it's a reasonable chair, right? That everybody's got, but nobody sat in it. Nobody sat in this chair that they've got. Do the long lost backs post. Alison's saying, let's do it.
Yeah,
I think we ought to, shouldn't we? It's. I don't know. I just feel like.
We need to get something where we get people on the show, maybe the next couple before Christmas, to get screen grabs of the worst TV setups,
great.
or even the best ones that they've seen. So any really good examples off the telly. It can be any program, it can be anything you want, trigger point, whatever you want to do. Something with a really good bad one and a really bad one.
Yeah. It tends to be the where you see like reasonable ergonomic setups tends to be sort of like crime thriller people, where like somebody sat at a desk and they're trying to solve a crime, and they're doing all the tech bit, and they've got the decent chair and they've got it all set up nicely, and they're all good. But it seems to me it's like, I feel like on some of these programs, it may just be to do with like photographic or like filmography and aesthetics and whatever. It's like we don't want too much kit in here or whatever. But it's not. The trouble is, it's not giving the right impression.
No.
It's kind of teaching people that looks cool. You should have your office like that. It's a bad mistake.
I find even within the industry, though, if I'm looking for photos to use, whether it's a LinkedIn post or something to put on the website, find it really hard to find ergonomically correct photos with the right chair, the right, there'll be, every sit stand desk manufacturers, they've all got a picture of somebody working on a laptop that's not on a stand.
Yeah. You wanted to swear there, didn't you? But then he edited it out. So.
I nearly got to 53 minutes without swearing.
Well done.
It's true. I believe you've got a fairly good photo library, though, haven't you, Stephen?
Yeah, and because what you'll find on ours is we obviously work quite closely with the guys at Flock. So if you're ever looking for something with a really nice Capisco or something else from their range, we'll do that. So we do have some of those available, and I'll drop some of those over to you, Paul, so you've got them in the future.
Oh, cool, thank you.
There we are. Look at some of the seating manufacturers who will put out a picture of someone sitting in a good chair whilst working on a laptop. Yeah, exactly that. I think that's exactly the point that Paul was saying. Don't do it, you. Honestly.
Don't you start swearing.
I'm not going to start swearing, don't worry. I know which side my
bread is butter. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, folks, that's been marvellous today. This has been wonderful, Paul Skinner. Now, if you are in and around the southwest of England and you see the orange van, do ring the number on the side of it. You won't win a prize.
No.
But tell him to get out the middle lane.
Although I feel that could be a great thing, couldn't it? If you then buy a chair from him, maybe he'll bring you a croissant.
We could deliver a croissant with every chair, couldn't we?
What about a prawn croissant with every chair?
Oh, someone's going to get food poisoning and they're going to get into trouble.
Yeah,
no, just go with the croissant. Just go
avoid
with
the shellfish. Yeah.
Croissant's a fairly safe bet, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like that's a good idea. If you buy a chair from Paul in the next month, when you see the van, there's the number on the side or whatever. Just give him a call, and if you do that in the next month, he might throw in a croissant for you. There we are.
That's
lovely.
That's all my sales problems solved.
It really is.
Why did you not think of this before, Paul? Why did you not think of this?
Do you know what? I joke about this, but when I was in the stationery game or whatever, we found a competitor of ours actually started doing really rather well, and we had to kind of deal with that. And all they were doing was that when someone placed the order, that they gave them a box of donuts. That was it.
Yeah,
literally that. You just think, wow, is that all it takes? But unfortunately, yes, that's what motivates people out there. So, you know, Paul might even give you, I don't know, 2 croissants.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends how big. It depends how expensive a chair it is.
You'll be wanting pans of chocolate next.
Yeah.
You know, manage people's expectations.
For a van full of chairs, you might get like a selection of pastries.
Yeah.
We're going to put them to get crushed by a chair rolling about in the back, or they get eaten by a dog in the front.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for joining us again, Paul.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
I really appreciate it.
It's always nice to have you here. And thanks for watching this. We will be back in a few weeks' time with another guest and another show. But until then, we hope you've learned something useful today. If you have, then let us know. If you haven't, well, don't bother. We thank you very much for your time, and thanks to all of the people that left great messages as well. We're very grateful for that. We will be back soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.